The devil's a liar. Don't you ever, ever, ever give up on anything. Because I'm back. Dr. Camille Hammond is back. She is home safely, and we are going to finish this amazing conversation about endometriosis, infertility, surrogacy, her beautiful mother giving birth to her 3 children, and the wonderful and imperative work that she does at the Cade Foundation. Thank you. I see you guys coming back in. Hey, hey. Nandi Tani says, hi, we back. Exactly. We are back. Come on into the room. First and foremost, let me thank you guys for joining back to come back in. I just posted the part 1 of our conversation with Dr. Camille, but she is now safely back. My friend Nick is on here. Now, let me tell y'all about Nick. He's a writer for Netflix's new series. It's an animated series. It starts with a Y and there's an A. I don't know. He didn't call me to do a voice. But Nick, put in the comments what the series is so everybody can watch and then fan out. Because you got some heavy hitters in that. And congratulations to you for your Netflix show. So hi, everybody. Welcome back in. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring Dr. Camille back in, and we're going to finish this conversation. Like I said, endometriosis, infertility. Her mom was her surrogate, pregnant with triplets. Her mom carried her triplets. Yasuki, that's the name of it, Nick. Yasuki. Next time, call me for it. She's going to finish her story and tell you all about it. Watch Yasuki on Netflix, y'all. This is a little storyboard. Princess Warrior is back from the UK. What's going on? Thank you guys for coming back in. I went to the Cade Foundation's one. Let me see if I got her. He says, I got you. You better, Nick, because you just said that on live with everybody and anybody. All right? But congratulations. That's really all I want to say is congratulations to you. We know how the game is played out here in these streets. And when we get something on the air, it was a long time coming, and you deserve it. So, Dr. Camille, if you are there, go ahead and request. I sent you some requests to get you back into the room, because I can't wait to share with everybody all of the rest of the wonderfulness that is you and the Cade Foundation. So I'm ready for you, girl. I am ready for you. All right, you guys, let me double check here just to see. Everybody's waving, and I love it. So thank you. Okay. So Dr. Camille, I'm going to need you to come out and come back in, I think, and push the request because it's saying that you're unable to join. Hi, Erica Butterfly that joined. Hello. Tell me you guys where you're from. I'm on Cade Link. Okay. Shaquita Lockley from Eggs Over Easy Film is in the building. Okay. It says Dr. Camille Hammond. Okay. I went to Cade. Let me try you one more time. I'm going to Cade. I just sent you a request. If it doesn't work, then come out and come back in and press request from the Cade thing. There you are. Girl, we got it covered. Look, we have to try. This is the infertility community. We have to try things over and over again until we get where we need to go.
Amen.
So,
absolutely.
Hi.
Absolutely.
There are people from it looks like Dallas is in the building, the UK is in the building, United Kingdom,
hey,
South Africa is in the house. Nandi, hello. You got a whole Netflix writer up in the building. Everyone is saying, all right, we are back. So here we go. And they're telling you how beautiful you are. So thank you for hustling home to finish this conversation. You guys, if you don't mind, put some flowers in the comment section just so we can show the love as we continue the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. It's my honor. I am just going to briefly get people back up to date that are maybe here for the first time. But what you explained to us was that when you were 18 years old, you were diagnosed with endometriosis. And after some exploratory surgeries, they had to remove as much as they could to get you prepared for having a child. Should you want one day, and you met your husband the first week of med school, y'all had a whirlwind romance. You told him on the second date that you had endometriosis. And we talked about the fact that just coming out with your truth early on, we don't want to fall in love with somebody that doesn't know where we're at in life. But you let him know it might be a struggle to get pregnant. And you guys decided to forge ahead, and you had 6 rounds of IVF, 6 rounds of IVF. And unfortunately, in those rounds, a pregnancy did not happen. And I think the last question before we lost you was asking you about the toll that it took on you emotionally, physically, financially, and even in the marriage or with partnership, with 6 rounds of IVF, because each round is a whole nother decision to go through a whole big journey. So can you just speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So infertility was almost, it almost broke me, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Financially, we were completely in debt, because even though some of our treatment was covered, some of it wasn't. And by the time we had kids, we were $100,000 in debt just with medical bills, you know.
Mm.
So that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, you know, it was shots, you know, shot. Yeah, that was my life. Like every day, multiple times a day, shots in my belly, and then the trigger shot at the end of every cycle, which is a kind of a butt shot, booty shot.
And that's a big needle. There's a lot of people that are, you know, when women go into IVF cycles, specifically for the woman's part of the process. Yes. But I froze my eggs, y'all. So I had to do the shots in the abdomen. I did not make embryos, however. So that trigger shot, that really big one, wasn't that case for me specifically. But can you give women that may not have started IVF but are thinking about it just a little bit of what to expect?
Yes. So you are going to get different kind of medications. A lot of times they start you on birth control pills, or at least back in the day. I had fertility treatment, believe it or not, 21 years ago. That's when I started. Mm-hmm. And the technology has evolved a mm-hmm. lot. I think that they used to try and sync everybody who was going through cycles at the same time way back in the day. Now, you know,
it's you and you.
Yeah, it's just you and you, which is great. Yeah, you know, that's wonderful. But so I ended up having birth control pills for a while. They did some testing where they would shoot dye into your uterus to make sure that both of the fallopian tubes were empty. Mm-hmm. And if dye didn't come out one side, they would say, okay, this one is blocked. So there, you know, there's a fair amount of testing that leads up to the actual treatment. And then when you finally have the IVF, you start taking medications every day, multiple times a day, sometimes in your belly. And then you're going every day to get an ultrasound to mm-hmm. see how many of the follicles developed. So women are born with the absolute highest number of eggs that they will ever have. They're born with them.
I hope y'all heard that. You are born with as many eggs as you are ever going to have. You do not make more. Do not give away your best baby making years to the wrong relationship and situationship. Take it from me. You do not make more. So just know that the time you spend, you're also giving away your biology. I always have to say that because it's the truth.
That's real. Mm-hmm. That's real. So, you know, and actually by the time you start having menstrual periods, you've already lost a good number of the ones that you were born with. Mm-hmm. So by the time you get to be 32 years old, the number of like good quality eggs that you're ever going to have starts to go down exponentially. So, you know, I really feel like infertility should be a part of sex ed in elementary school, so the kids would know that's a possibility. You know, that's a thing.
100%, because we didn't even learn what a follicle was. We didn't know that it's a fluid-filled sac with an egg cell in it. We didn't know what follicular atresia is. We think we're losing just one mature egg a month. We don't know about the follicles that could have been eggs that we're losing along with that cycle. So we're losing like 300 plus follicles a year. And we don't know that. We're thinking we're losing 12 eggs a month. I mean, a year. No, it doesn't work that way. And so
Uh-uh.
I agree with you that the way the reproductive system works, especially in women, should really be part of sex education. And that's one of the reasons why we do Warrior Wednesday, so that people understand really how their body works and why those eggs go away so quickly, right?
Exactly right. That's
Yes.
exactly right.
Yes.
So you're on these medications that, give you the hormones that you need so that you can grow, so the follicles can grow. You can start to develop more follicles than you would without the medications. And they make you hormonal. They make you moody. And so I kind of felt like I was, kind of a Jekyll and Hyde. Like I was at work. Of course, you can't act out at work. You have to be professional. I was a medical student and then a resident. But then at home, I was a mess. Labile. It was crying one minute and laughing the next minute. And that really made things even harder because, in my relationship with my husband, because, it's hard enough being married. It's hard enough kind of staying engaged with the person. We were both working 80 plus. We were residents before the 80-hour work week started. So this is when they could work you basically until they just decided not to. 100, 110, 120 hours. Okay, whatever.
Right.
So we're tired. We're grumpy from that. I'm on, all these medications that make me even more hormonal. And it was hard. It was really, really hard. I always loved God, and I always knew that God had my best interest at heart. But it got to the point where I thought, does he see me? Ooh. Like, I know that I love him, but I don't know if he sees me. Because it just felt like I was struggling for so long.
That is such a relatable feeling. Am I the only one in this? Do you see me? Do you feel me? What more do I need to do to show you that I'm ready, to show you that this is what I want, right? And it's almost like when we get to that point, that's actually where God can really do his best work is when we need him the most.
Yes.
Because faith without works is dead, right?
Amen.
So we have to do the work. But when we feel like, Lord, but where are you in it? He's like, well, let me show you what I'm about to do. Because your story really goes to a place of what he was about to do. And before we say that, though, I just want to answer somebody. Madam Sweet, who's 35, asked if she was too old. Is it too late for me at 35? No, it is not. But I just needed to address to you that I would suggest you get your AMH and your FSH levels checked. Okay, that's your anti-Müllerian hormone and your follicle stimulating hormone. You can also get an ultrasound when you're on your cycle to get your follicles checked. Now, I froze 29 eggs of mine when I was 37 years old. Quality is different than quantity, though. The quality of the eggs is different. So we're freezing our potential fertility. So 35, go now. Find out, get a fertility diagnostic test. Ask your OBGYN or go to a fertility specialist so that you can get your hormone levels checked and you can decide what steps you want to take moving forward. To possibly preserve your fertility or not, but at least it'll give you a baseline of where you're at, meaning what your ovarian reserve is. Would you agree with that, Dr. Camille?
Absolutely. 100%.
100%. Okay. So now, like you said, very isolating. Does God see me? Now, y'all got to see, not only did God see Dr. Camille Hammond and her husband, he saw y'all big time. So you come to the end of the last one and the doctor says to you, I'm not even going to take any more of your money, right?
Yeah. He said, you're broke and you've done this for many years and you're young and healthy, but there's no reason to believe that if you continue to do what you've done, that you're going to get any different result. And that was devastating. That was absolutely devastating because we were young and we were healthy. And, we just didn't kind of know where to go with there. We didn't tell a lot of people about infertility. we were very, I would say a little secretive. I know I had a lot of shame.
Yeah.
I felt like there was something wrong with me, like I was being punished, you know, kind of going back to God. I thought, what have I done to deserve this? You know, I try and live my life in this kind of way, but I'm still struggling. You know, I'm still not able to do this thing that means so much. And, you know, so we came home after that last doctor's visit where, again, he did not want our money, which was, you know, when you're paying cash and you don't have insurance, I feel like that was really an act of love.
Yeah.
For the doctor to say, keep your $15,000.
Okay. It really was. And not every doctor is that responsible to say, I need to find a way to let you know that I don't think that this is the route, and that your money and your time and your emotional, everything that you're depositing into this would be better served somewhere else in assisted reproduction, whether it's adoption or, you know, that. And I mean, so it does take a responsible fertility specialist to really bring you to that place and say that. So kudos for him, for being compassionate enough, because there are doctors or there are clinics out there that would just keep taking the money and letting you cycle after cycle. So you get there and you come to this place and the doctor tells you maybe try what?
Well, he suggested that we look at either adoption or something that he called a gestational carrier, which in the lay community is
say that
again. A person.
Say that again. You just cut out. Okay, you cut out for a second. So say that part again about he said surrogate? Adoption.
Or a surrogate or a gestational carrier.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And that's so a surrogate is a woman who carries a baby for you. She's not genetically related to the baby. But remember, this is like, you know, I started 21 years ago. This is, you know, 18 years ago. All right. 18, 19 years ago. So I didn't even know any people who looked like me who admitted that they had infertility, let alone someone who actually had somebody else carry their baby. I thought that was something that celebrities did or, you know, wealthy people did. And here I am, $100,000 in debt. And, you know, the doctor is suggesting that's something that we do. So, of course, I was devastated, heartbroken. I talked to my parents every day. So my parents knew what was happening. And my mom and dad approached me and my husband to say, hey, what about your mother? Can't she carry a baby for you? And my mom was 54 and postmenopausal. So she had already gone through the change of life at that time.
Right.
And my brother, I have a brother who's a lot younger, but he was getting ready to graduate high school. And so I thought, you know, my parents are right at that empty nester stage. And also they didn't teach me about postmenopausal women getting pregnant with their grandchildren in medical school. So, you know, politely, ever so politely.
You're like, that wasn't in the book that I read.
Nope, not the one that I got.
Right.
So I thank my mom and my dad because it was them together. Wow. And, you know, my husband and I said, no, that's just, you know, thank you, but we're good. Right. And they were persistent. Woo! Because they had seen a show on 60 Minutes or years before when I was 18 and I was originally diagnosed with endometriosis. They had seen a show about a woman who carried a baby for her daughter. And they said, listen, we saw this on TV. We think it could work.
Let me tell you something about the God that we serve.
Yes.
Because he's writing the story before we even know how the story started. That whatever day mom and dad were sitting on the couch watching this thing on TV, because your mom and dad knew you had endometriosis at 18. They were with you in that journey. That God planted a seed through the television that they at the time didn't even know was going to be a thing.
No.
But was able to say to you when you said after 6 rounds.
That's right.
That the doctor said either adopt or surrogate. Said, hold on, wait a minute. We saw something on TV. When I tell you that the God we serve can write a story better than you can ever think of yourself, so you might as well not be anxious out there, y'all. You might
That's
as
right.
well not overthink things, because he's already got the plan. He
Amen.
knows. So mom
Amen.
and dad come to you, and y'all are like, it's not in the medical book. So y'all, two doctors,
Two doctors, right,
said, no, thank you. And then what?
and then my parents said, but wait, you know, let's talk about this. And anyone who knows my mom knows that she is very persistent. Actually, both of my parents, but they wouldn't let it go. You know, it was, you need to think about this.
Oof.
And we think it could work, and we think it's possible. And so we did a lot of praying, a lot of talking to each other, a lot of talking to God, and, you know, just trying to decide, is this something that we're comfortable with? Because there are all these ethical issues that come into play. Like, if she carries a baby, is it really my baby, even though it's my embryo? Like, is it my sibling? There was the social stigma. What will other people think?
Mm-hmm.
You know, will other people judge me?
Mm-hmm.
There was the, you know, issues for my mom. My mom is older. She was
Mm-hmm.
54 at the time, postmenopausal. She was very healthy, but I didn't want to do anything that would potentially cause her harm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, can
Mm-hmm.
women that old carry babies?
Mm-hmm.
And then we, you know, found out we have a relative actually that had a baby at 55, but not too long after that. But after a lot of conversation and just introspection and prayer, we decided to see, is she healthy enough to carry a baby?
Is she a candidate to do this? Mm-hmm.
Is she a candidate? And so she went and got checked out, and her doctor said, well, she's healthy and we don't think it'll kill her, but we can't say much beyond that. And yeah, exactly. So, but my parents were, in the words of my favorite president, Barack Obama, fired up, ready to go. They were ready.
Both of your parents were fired up and ready to go.
Yes,
because there's something about a mother's love. There's something about a father's love. And there's something about just knowing what you know when you know it, when you know it. And you are their baby. And they wanted to see your future be everything that they imagined for you and more, and selflessly were able to do this. So now she's a candidate. Tell me a little bit about the process of what mom had to go through to prepare her body for surrogacy. And I know that was a big process for you too, emotionally and all of the things. So what did mom have to go through medically?
So the uterus doesn't age like many of the other organs. So medically, mom had to do she basically went on estrogen for a month, and her uterus snapped back to life. I mean, you know,
right? Yeah,
it was just ready. It's like, we know what this is. My mom had 3 kids before, and her uterus, she got pregnant. So every time I had gone through IVF, I never produced a lot of eggs. I always had like 3. Mm-hmm. And so every time they put all 3 they would have 3 embryos. They would put all 3 into me. I never got pregnant. Got so it. When my mom was doing the cycle, you know, she was going through the cycle as our gestational carrier. They put all 3 embryos into her, because surely if I didn't get pregnant with 3, mm-hmm. she would, you know, hopefully she would get pregnant with 1. Well, she got pregnant with all 3.
All 3 took.
All 3 took, and my triplets are 16.
First of all, y'all need to put some flowers up for mom. Flowers
put up for my mama.
But yes, for your mama, because I was saying earlier, I don't know if you saw it, that my mom and I freaked out just by giving me the needles. Just by giving me the needles for freezing my eggs. What an amazing gift that your parents gave you. Y'all put some flowers up for Dr. Camille's mom, for that beautiful gift, and how faithful God is. Mm-hmm. That
yes, he
3,
will.
Yes, he will. 3, and all of them took. So now mom is pregnant. There's my mom with a bunch of pink flowers, and she's laughing in the middle because she's like, yeah, because we could barely get a needle, you know, but we got it done. But hey,
Right.
when it's time, when there's a purpose call, you know,
Amen.
there's a quote that I love that says, God doesn't call the qualified.
Mm.
He qualifies who he calls.
Yes, he does.
So your mom answered the call and he qualified her along the way.
Amen.
And that started with the program she saw on television. And so now she's pregnant with triplets and we go a whole 9 months. How was it?
So she basically worked the entire time. I anybody who knows my mom knows she is a force. She is the force. She is my shero, but she drove. She worked up until she was about 30 weeks pregnant, and she only stopped because it was Christmas time. And she works at the University of Richmond, and the university closed. Wow. So during the holiday, during the break, she delivered the triplets. They were born December the 28th. She drove the whole time. And actually, after she had the babies, it's funny. She said, okay, I'll see you in 3 months. I got to get my body back. So
come on, mommy.
She, you know, got her Weight Watchers and her trainer and all that good stuff. And I want to give a shout out to my mother-in-law because she came and she stayed with us for the first 3 months of our babies' lives. Wow. She said Tina had them before they were here, and now I'm going to take them, you know, once they're here. So we really have had lots of love and support from our family. And I'm grateful for that. And I don't take it for granted because I know everybody doesn't have that.
Yes, yes. And a whole village around you that was willing to go above and beyond to bring those 3 gorgeous lives into this world. So we just praise God for them. And that is just such a beautiful gift. So shout
Amen.
out to your mom, to mom-in-law, to all the mothers out there, because that immense amount of love, you know, that's what I long to feel one day. And this is the type of story, y'all, that should give you the hope and the inspiration of what is possible with God, with science, with all of those things, but that there is never a reason to really give up, because these are the things that I'm sure as you were going through 6 rounds of IVF, you were never thinking that this was going to be how God wrote this chapter of the story of your 3 babies coming in. And so now we have these beautiful babies. Mom is off on the treadmill and Weight Watchers. Mom-in-law is at home helping you now adjust to not 1 life, but 3 little lives.
3
so
lives.
Now you're a mom. How was it?
It was amazing. It was everything it was more than I had ever prayed for. Yeah. But I just want to bring up one thing. You need to be ready when you pray about something. When you ask God for something. Ooh. Because you know, he may give you exactly what you ask for, and the Bible talks about it being more than we could ask for or imagine. And so you need to just be ready when you say that prayer, because it could happen quickly. And when it happens, you need to remember that you asked for that.
Oh, I received that. I received that. So I thank you for that. I thank you for that. Y'all need to be ready and make sure your prayers are specific, because God's that cup is going to overflow. That's a whole sermon right there. Be ready for what you prayed for, and pray that you don't mishandle what you prayed for, because God is faithful. Now I want to get through. So you're a new mom and with this beautiful gift.
Yeah.
But I want to also get through what in you began to birth the Cade Foundation. And then I want you to talk specifically about the amazing work that you do. But because the Cade Foundation came after the birth of your children, correct? Yes. So what in you said, wait a minute, I need to do something?
So the Cade Foundation was founded about a year after the kids were born. And my husband and I were sitting and thinking, we have everything. We have education, so it wasn't like there was ever kind of a gap in our knowledge about what infertility was, what my diagnosis was, what the medical resources were to help treat infertility. We had financial resources. We had insurance for part of our treatment, and then when the insurance ran out, we had the ability to get financing, to get loans. You know, we tapped into the equity and a home that we owned at that time. We had the ability to access money to continue our care. And we had the love and support of family. There was never any, you're going to hell if you have fertility treatment. And that actually happens. Some people's families do not accept that, you know, or they'll say, we're not going to accept these grandkids. There was none of that. Mm-hmm. But infertility still almost broke us. Mm-hmm. And we thought, you know, we need to pay this forward. And the only way that we could think of to really pay it forward was to help another family that was on the pathway to parenthood, who may not have all of the things that we had. And so we founded the Cade Foundation. We named it after, it's actually the Tanina Q. Cade Foundation, named after my mother. And the goal was to bless another family with the gift of parenthood, the way that her gift of holding our babies helped bless us with the gift of parenthood. And go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because I think it's so beautiful, and I want to make sure that everybody knows, because one of the things you said was infertility almost broke us. And that is so much how we all feel when we're in the journey. And that because of that almost breaking that happens, and sometimes the breaking that happens, the purpose then comes in. It gets clearer. And so what I want you guys to hear from Dr. Camille is that the need to help others, I personally believe, is a way that we heal ourselves. It's a way that we heal that journey. And so when that calling comes upon you, and that paying forward to be able to see what your mom did for you and you and your husband to say, but what can we do? Because we've been here and we've been in the breaking place, and we're not going to let the next person beside us not know that they're supported when this happens. So I just think that that's a beautiful thing. So you guys start the Cade Foundation with a goal to help one family.
The goal was to raise $10,000 and help one family. And we actually incorporated it and got it established as a nonprofit because we didn't think anybody would donate if we didn't have the ability to give them a donation receipt. So we started it, and that first year, there was a little story written about us in the Richmond Times-Dispatch, and it was tucked in the back of the newspaper. It might have been, one paragraph. Well, one woman read that story, and she had actually, she was going to fertility treatment herself. And when she went the first day, she was pregnant. She read that story. She gave us all the money that she had saved for her cycle.
Wow.
So that first
she was going to the fertility clinic.
Yes.
For treatments, but what she didn't know is she was pregnant.
She was pregnant. No, this is so she's getting ready. She's on day one of the actual cycle where they're getting ready to monitor her and all of that. But she was pregnant already. And so instead of just keeping that or eating the seed, she gave us the seed. It was like God had been preparing the whole way.
There I go. Because when you make a decision about something, God will assist you.
Yes, he will.
And since you made a decision to be of service
to
one family, one woman who he had already planted a baby seed in, who had the money, who was like, I'm going to do this to get a baby. And God said, I already gave you the baby. Give the money here.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what happened. So can I tell you, we were able to fund 3 families.
And you had
I had 3 babies. In year 1, we funded 3 families.
I'm sorry. I tell you all that. I told you on the phone, I was like, I be crying because when I see God so clearly, it's a reminder. Mm-hmm. It's a reminder of how guided we are. And like he said, I will not leave you, nor will I forsake you.
That's right.
And we have to do our part and to see him. You were blessed and to use you to bless others. And he's so cool, right? With those signs and wonders. You were able to bless 3 babies.
Absolutely.
With your 3 babies. And
Yes.
so now, how did you take the Cade Foundation to the next level? Because now you know, like, God is over here. He's shouting and screaming along with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because I'll admit there are a number of times along the journey where I was just so frustrated about different things and discouraged. And every single time where I would say, well, you know what? I feel like we've done enough. I'm just going to go back and live my life. Something would happen, like that random woman who honestly I never met. I don't know what the woman's face looks like.
Wow.
All I know is she was an angel donor. She came in when we needed it, and then she disappeared. And there were so many people, so many times where things like that happened. Like, I would be discouraged one minute, and out of nowhere, it was just like the door would open and everything that we needed would be provided with what we had. You think you need this much in order to do certain things, and God opens the door and you get this much, but it's more than enough for you to do that thing that you thought. Yeah.
That's purpose. That's purpose. When you are in your purpose,
Yes.
He will show up and He will keep it going.
He did. He did. So we're at the point right now where we have funded 134 families with up to $10,000 each. We have 94 Cade babies and a number of ongoing pregnancies. And we are still here supporting families. But it's been such a wonderful journey because we've been able to do other things. So the grants are a foundation piece, but we also do education. We have programs. Of course, everything last year was virtual because of the pandemic, but we work in different communities, including the faith community, the lay community. We have every other Monday, we call it Coffee with Cade, where we bring on an expert to talk about a topic of relevance to the fertility community. That's right. Right.
Get your Coffee with Cade. That's on Facebook, correct?
It's on Facebook. Yep, absolutely. And we've got the fertility book club. And we started also working with healthcare providers because what I started seeing when I was reading these grant applications was people that really had infertility for many, many years, but it had been missed by their healthcare provider simply because the question wasn't asked. The question was asked, do you need more birth control pills? But the question wasn't asked, have you tried to get pregnant this last year?
Right?
That's a different question.
That's a different question because we talked about that on the phone together, is that a lot of times OBGYNs are stopping you from getting pregnant because there's birth control and women are not ready and all of those things. But we're not actually told that when you are ready to get pregnant, this is how your body works. And this is why time is important. And this is why. So the Cade Foundation, you guys partner with a lot of people to get education out there so that people can be informed about being proactive about their fertility health and understanding all of the things that's going to lie ahead to them. Correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we have started a number of years ago, actually working with some of the top medical schools and academic programs in the country to make sure that our young physicians and residents and fellows and attendings understood what infertility is, not just what it is, but what local resources exist, and also talking with them about advances in knowledge, how knowledge is evolving in the area so that they could refer appropriately and provide great care to patients.
And let me ask you this, because you're so well read in all of these things. Well, first, let me thank you. Let me thank you as a woman. As a woman, well, I thank you because the amount of work that you do in the community of infertility, it's profound. To think that you went from wanting one family to be helped to 3 to now 134. Can you guys put the number 134 in the chat? Because I just want to see it over and over and over again, because I know God is going to double, triple, and quadruple that number. But 134 families, 94 babies have been helped by the Cade Foundation, and you're out there giving out information and partnering with physicians themselves to make sure that they have the proper information. Here come the 134s, and I love to see it, just so we can see the testimony of what he's done, but that are partnering themselves. Can you just help some of us out here that are in the audience about how to advocate for ourselves when we are at our OBGYN, our fertility specialist, to ask the questions, because we don't know to go in there and say, hey, can I get an AMH FSH test? Like, it's not common knowledge. It's only if we're watching a live like this do people know that. But is there anything that you can just offer people about how to better advocate themselves, since you are in the world in every kind of avenue of it?
Yes. So let me just first say that your body doesn't know you're not trying to get pregnant every month. Every month, your body is trying to get pregnant. Your uterus has one job, okay? And if you are not on some type of prophylaxis, if you're not on, birth control pills or condoms or IUD or some type of prophylaxis, even if in your mind you're thinking, I'm not ready to get pregnant, your uterus they're not on the same page. Uterus is always like, pregnancy, that's what I do. If you haven't gotten pregnant and you're not on prophylaxis, you need to talk with your doctor, because you may have infertility.
Come on. Even if you're not trying to get pregnant, you need to know what your ovarian reserve is. You need to know if you have any underlying conditions. This is what she's telling y'all. Just because in your mind you're not ready, it doesn't mean that you're fertile. Because when you were trying to get pregnant, like we said, you were 18 when you had endometriosis. Those 6 rounds, you were in your what, 20s?
Yes.
20s.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we can't just assume that because we're younger or because so-and-so had a lot of babies, that means that that's going to be our story. Assumption is not your friend when it comes to fertility.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So if you've not been prophylaxed and you've not gotten pregnant, you need to talk to your doctor, because by definition, if it's been 12 months, you have infertility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. By definition. And that's if you're under the age of 35, correct? And over 35, it's 6 months.
It's 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
So then you need to ask for a workup. And I would actually say you need to ask for a referral to a fertility specialist so that you can get a workup by someone who does this every single day. And that's not to say that your OBGYN can't do it, but why not go work with the person who does this exclusively? I'm sorry, go ahead.
And that's what I did. No, I was putting my hand up because I was just saying I did that. I got the referral from my OBGYN for a fertility specialist, because what people don't really know or understand if they have not entered this world yet is that an OBGYN and a fertility specialist are both under gynecology. They're both OBGYN. But a fertility specialist has 3 to 5 years more training in fertility and fertility procedures. So your OBGYN, unless they are also a fertility specialist, does not freeze eggs, y'all. Does not do IVF. So the person that usually you go to for your pap smears and things like that is not the same person that would freeze your eggs or help you get pregnant should you need it. That's someone that has 3 to 5 years more training. And that's why it's really important, because I asked my doctor specifically for a referral for a fertility specialist, because I chose to go to someone, to your point, that specializes in this, that this is their concentration of getting people pregnant. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that, to get a fertility diagnostic test, and you can get it at any age. So don't think just because I'm 35, that means it's over for me. Get it at any age. Your ovarian reserve, your quality and your quantity are different, but without the knowledge, you have no power. Without the knowledge, you have no power. And the power is in your hands to get. So I love that. I love that.
Yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So now, if I wanted to be a Cade family, so for the people that are watching here, what is my process? If I know I go to cadefoundation.org, what's next?
So if you click on the tab that says grants, that is going to give you all the information about the family building grant. It'll tell you who's included, which is basically anybody who has infertility. You have to have infertility to qualify. But we don't exclude based on any other factor. You pick a factor. I'm this age, you're included. I make this much money, you're included. I am single, or I'm in a LGBTQ relationship. If you have infertility, you are eligible to apply for the family building grant. Those are questions that we get all the time.
Now, does a fertility doctor or specialist have to confirm that I have infertility?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you need a physician to actually confirm for you for the Cade Foundation. So you guys hear that? So you can't just jump off your couch and say, I haven't gotten pregnant in a year. You have to go to a doctor, understand and have a diagnosis of infertility, and that needs to be verified. So then I go on, and there is a portion of this as well where I need to write a personal note. Is that correct?
Yes. So it's called a personal statement. And if there are two people in your family, then both people need to write personal statements, because what we don't want is one group, one family, where one person is kind of leading the effort and the other person is not on board, because,
then that might mean that they won't be ready, right? Because you have an advisory board that reads these applications.
Exactly.
And this advisory board votes and they choose the applicant to get the grant. So do you guys understand that? So getting the grant is applying through this application process, and there's going to be a board that reads these applications, votes for the person that they believe, or the family that they believe will most benefit from the grant, and then awards it that way. So if I'm that person that's applying and I've been diagnosed with infertility and I have either by myself or with a partner, and I'm writing that story, are there any tips that you can offer? Because here's the thing, guys, one of the things that we want to talk about today in the application process for grants like this is writing 1 or 2 or 3 sentences really isn't the thing that's going to move the needle on the dial. That's why conversations like this are so important. Yes. One of the things I would say as a writer is that I voice record a lot of my things before I write them in scripts. And good. Not everybody knows how to kind of put their thoughts to the computer and get it out there. So my advice would be, speak it first and speak from your heart and tell your truth. Yes. Let yourself cry, let yourself ache, say it into a recorder, into your phone, and transcribe that into the personal note, because what you're really looking for is that heartfelt truth. Are there any other tips that you can give people that are looking to apply for the grants?
Real quickly, do not copy and paste one personal statement to the next person's personal statement. We've tried to get around that by actually having 2 different emails. If you say that this is your email and this is your partner's email, we actually don't let you easily do it. It goes to that other person, but people get around that.
So what you're saying is, if I'm partnered and we're both we're applying for the grant, and so we need other people as well, right?
You need you and your partner's personal statements.
We need both of our personal statements.
Yes.
So if I write the statement and my partner copies and pastes it, that's a no.
That's a no.
That don't work, y'all, because what that would tell you is that these 2 people are not on the same page. One person wants it and the other person is just floating by. And so now what that means, y'all, I want y'all to hear this, because what that means is the applicants, they need to be ready. Just like Dr. Camille said earlier, be ready for what you prayed for. So if you're copying and pasting, then you're not on the same page in terms of the energy you're putting forth for this child to come into the world. So that grant can't be delivered to you by trying to do a shortcut. Everybody has to do their part.
No shortcuts.
Everybody has to do. So that's great to know. That's great to know. So be thorough, be real, right?
Be real. And also, as you are, so there's a part where we ask about your budget. What I have found is a lot of times partners don't know how much money each other makes. They don't know how they're spending each other's money. Sometimes people have separate bank accounts and they have kind of a group account, but I have my money and you have your money. you got to sit and talk about money, because what you may find is that you already have the money that you need, but you're spending it in different ways. That $5,000 vacation, you know, that $2,500 shopping spree where you got the really nice shoes and that cute belt, like some of the things that we're doing, even that $10 Chipotle every day because I don't feel like packing my lunch. If you cut some of those things out, what you may find is over the course of a year, you would be able to fund it yourself. We have a lot of people who apply who say, I don't want to use my money. I have savings, but I don't want to use my money on fertility treatment. I want to have that for when the baby comes. And, you know, I can tell you that is not looked upon favorably, because so often the people that are giving and sewing into Cade Foundation so that we have these grants are not wealthy people. They're people who are giving out of sacrifice. They're sacrificially giving.
Right.
So when you're saying, well, I got $20,000 in savings, or I've got, you know, retirement that I can tap, but I don't really want to, what you're saying is my money has more value than their money. And I can tell you right now, the reviewers do not look favorably on that perspective.
And that's completely understood, because the reality is, like you said, there are people that are sacrificing their money to make sure that these grants continue, you guys. Yes. So that these grants have to be funded by someone to be able to help a family. And the other thing, because I say this all the time, you know, because you can either find a way or you can find an excuse.
Amen.
And I put my egg freezing all on one credit card, and these things add up when there's IVF after IVF after IVF. And I always tell people, women that want to freeze their eggs, well, I don't have the money. First of all, like you just said, that vacation, ask yourself, what do you really want in life? Do you want to go to the Bahamas, or do you want a family one day? But I also offer them, throw yourself an egg shower, just like we do baby showers, just like we do bridal showers. Register at paypal.com. The people that love you will help support you, but make sure you are responsible, because here's the thing: to whom much is given, much is required. Much is required. So be responsible about the way that you do this. If you guys have any questions for Dr. Camille before I let her go about the Cade Foundation and the process, go ahead and put it in the question link so I can ask. I did see a question earlier that said, is there a initiation or an application fee to apply for the grant?
Yes, it's $50.
Okay.
And some people might say, well, can I get a waiver? So the money that is donated to Cade is donated for grants. It's not donated for administrative costs. It takes a lot of time and effort and energy to have 30 people involved in reviewing each and every application. You know, Cade Foundation actually has a small office. We have people that answer the phone. We like having lights that work. You know, I have to pay my staff. Like, all of that actually costs. So the fee for the grant is an administrative fee, and it does not cover any grants. It literally just covers the processing and the review process for the application. So it is $50. And another thing is, if you don't want to spend $50 on a grant application, you don't really want the thing. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. It's kind of the truth. It's kind of the truth, because this is the time where you really want a child, and you know that there is help out there. It's going to be money very well spent. And like you said, it's an administrative fee that continues this program. So in essence, you're actually helping the cycle of life continue, even by doing that. Think of it as sowing a seed. Think of it that way, sowing a seed for yourself or for somebody else, or whoever's going to get the grant. But let me look and see here. Somebody has a question. Is this available in Canada? Is it available in Canada? No, the grants are limited to the U.S.
Okay.
So, well, the U.S. and territories. We did have one family who was in Guam, but it's U.S. and U.S. territories, and that really has to deal more with the administrative reporting that we have to do as a 501c3 501c3 nonprofit organization. There are some rules that we have to abide by. Otherwise, you know, red flags. And, you know, I want to be able to continue doing the work that we're doing and not get in trouble with the IRS.
Right.
There have been some people that said, well, I've got this person, actually got a call today. This person that I know is getting ready to have IVF fertility treatment. Can I give a donation to you and you give it to them? We can't do that. That's another thing that the IVF, the IRS frowns upon. So you as a donor can say, I want to support fertility treatment or adoption, but you cannot say, I want you to support, you know, Janet Jackson, because that would really that would compromise our status as a 501c3.
Right. And we do not want to do that, because you are doing the good work. All of the good work is there. Well, first of all, the other thing I want to say before I let you go is that Regina Townsend.
Yeah, she's so awesome. Regina is amazing. I just love her. She has a way with words. Sometimes I just think that's what I was thinking, but I didn't know how to say it like that. Regina's fantastic.
Regina is fantastic and stood all the way in the gap when the devil was playing with the Wi-Fi. And I just want to thank you publicly, Regina. I sent you an email, but I want to thank you publicly, because she was going to make sure, because she is a recipient of the Cade Foundation. She has worked with you guys, continues to spread the good news and help out where she can. And I just want you guys to know that, I mean, and it's a family here. It's a family here. So they can find you where? Where can we find the Cade Foundation and find you yourself?
So cadefoundation.org, that's CADE foundation.org. And if you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok under Cade Foundation. And if you want to find me, you can find me at Dr. Camille Hammond on all of those different social media outlets.
Well, let me just tell you this. Is there any last words that you have before I sing your praises?
Oh, don't sing my praises. Don't sing my praises. You know what? Just don't give up. I don't care how hard it feels. I don't care how long you've been here. And I don't care what bad news you've been given. You can become a parent. So don't give up. There's a lot of resources. There are many resources that are available. Take advantage of that, and keep moving.
And keep moving, y'all. Just like she said, don't give up. There are a lot of good resources. Take advantage of them. Yeah. Like the Cade Foundation. Spread the good news. Tell people about it. Even if it's not you going through it, but you know somebody that is. Send them over to the cadefoundation.org so that they can see for themselves the beautiful work. Because we don't want to just keep this to ourselves. We need to keep spreading this out. And Amen. Yes, Judah, Dr. Camille Hammond and Miss Kellee Stewart, we love mommy. You are absolutely right about that. Yes. Regina said that her son is in the car with her and heard and said, Mommy, they love you. Yes, we do. And we love you too, Judah. Well, listen, I just want to say to you, and I loved today. I loved
Thank you.
That. I
Thank
loved
you.
it. Thank you. I loved the whole sequence of events of it all. I loved Regina being your surrogate in the moment. I love your entire story and your journey in your selfless way that you share it with so many people. Thank you for being just a beacon of hope and light. Thank you for going through everything that you went through that brought you to this point. Thank you for never giving up. Thank you for listening to God when he said, your mama is calling because I told her to call. I planted the seed. Thank you for wanting to help one family that turned to 3 families, that turned to 134 families and counting.
That's right.
I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. We treasure and we honor you. Please know I am here to do any and all things to help with the Cade Foundation, to help with all of the purpose that's on your life. You can call on me anytime. And thank you for coming to Warrior Wednesdays.
Well, thank you, Kellee, and thank you, everybody, for joining us. This has been fantastic, and I so appreciate you for just giving me all the grace and not holding against me that I couldn't get the Wi-Fi together, that life happened.
Oh, ciao. We've been through worse than that. That ain't nothing. We was gonna get this good news out today. We were getting it out today, and more to come, because we're gonna have you come back. We're gonna continue to work together and do things, because we are out here, y'all. There's Black women, people that look like you, are out here in this world. We are serving the infertility community with our truth and our purpose to help as much as possible. So please take advantage of these resources. Follow Dr. Camille Hammond, Dr. Camille Hammond. Follow the Cade Foundation on Instagram, and go to cadefoundation.org to find out more information, and follow our friend Regina Townsend at Broken Brown Egg, and look at her website as well. I thank you so much again for being here. And we're going to post this one. This will be our part 2. And there's more to come, more fun things to do in this world together, for sure.
Awesome. Can't wait. And Kellee, please continue to be the warrior queen that you are, and keep sharing the good news that all of this can be overcome.
Yes, it can. And it will. Yes, it can. And it will. So thank you, guys. I will see you next week. We have Dr. Cindy M. Duke. She is coming back next week to answer all of your questions. Answer your questions about AMH and FSH and fertility and endometriosis and all of that stuff. So write your questions, put them in my DM, so that we can ask her some specifics and get you guys some help. So she'll be here next week, our warrior doctor, Dr. Cindy M. Duke. Until next week, I love you guys. Thank you, Dr. Camille.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.